to episode 185 of Coffee and Co-Read, your source for all things literary with Catherine
and Kristen, where we believe there's nothing better than a hot coffee or a cold coffee and an awesome book. Join us for a virtual book club where we take one book a month and dive into all the drama, adventure, and romance we can find. Hi, Catherine.
Hey, Kristen.
So we figured it's the second week of September. And last week, we sort of had to talk about the book that we are doing. So this is our first, September chat. So we just thought maybe we would, talk about our summers and, anything fun happen, any reading goals. We had the experience of having the Canada Games here this summer, which was really fun. So, get into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So... yeah, anything exciting that you want to talk about from the summer?
Only because it's on the top of my brain, but this past weekend I did swim the Tickle Swim again, so that's a 5K open ocean swim that I did, and I still have, my neck is so burnt from my wetsuit. Can you see that?
Yes.
I'll send you a picture. But I
burnt, what do you mean by burnt? From the
friction.
Is it chafing?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's they were pretty gross. So yeah, I did that this weekend, and
Congrats.
It raises money. Thank you. It raises money for the Canadian Mental Health Association, specifically in Newfoundland and Labrador. But they have fractions across Canada. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was my... And then we went on a few trips and saw some bands. I saw My Chemical Romance, who I love, and that was amazing. Yeah, that was mostly my summer. What about you?
So, I did a lot of... I want to say, self-improvement, I feel like. And I don't mean self, but, you know how you feel when, you have a dirty house? And
yes.
You just feel really, annoyed. And, you don't feel good?
Yeah.
So, I have 2 kids. So, obviously, there's a certain level of... My house is just gonna be cluttered.
Yeah.
And I need to accept it. But... I gutted a lot of cabinets, and I reorganized my my linen closet, and I just did a lot of gutting out my book nook of the kids' books, not mine.
Yeah.
But the ones that the kids aren't gonna read anymore, that they've outgrown. And so I did a lot of decluttering, which really made me feel good.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to clean when you have so much stuff too, because I find I've been reorganizing my books for months, in that sometimes I'll have energy and I'll move them around, and then I'll be too much work, I give up.
Yeah, it's daunting when you when you let it get to a certain level. It just becomes really daunting, and then you put it off because it's daunting.
Yeah.
Right? So, but anyway, so that was really nice. And then my entire August was taken up. I was a volunteer with the Canada Games. So I've actually been doing meetings with the Canada Games. I was one of the leads for those of you who are in the know for event services. So that's really it's spectator, athlete, coach. It's experience, right, is what I cover. So it's just making sure everybody is happy, and everything is running smoothly, and if there are any issues, they come to me about it. Was essentially my job. And I had a team of people who would sort of help with that at the venue that I was at. So I covered the yacht club, which was the sailing venue. So that was fun. I met some really cool people, and one of the people there I'm still good friends with, and we're hanging out, so that's exciting. And then the second week of competition, I was actually had a really cool experience. I was the announcing assistant for the diving competition. So I learned a whole lot about diving as a sport. And I got to announce a couple of the meets, which was really cool.
That's awesome.
If you watch back any of the footage, you might hear my voice, which is really cool. And I didn't realize that it was being televised, or not televised. I didn't realize it was being like,
oh, really?
yeah, streamed at all.
Yeah.
Because it was prelims, right? It wasn't finals. So
yeah.
for some reason in my brain, I was like, they're not gonna stream preliminaries.
Some of the kids in the preliminaries might not make it to the finals. People are gonna want to see it still.
Well, I didn't think that far. So yeah. So that was fun. I said some of my friends. So like the whole reason I got that gig was because I can technically speak French. Mm-hmm. And I said a word wrong over and over and over again on one of the meets, so that was fun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it a new word, though? Because, like, I don't know the dives in English. Oh,
no.
Shit.
So, like, this is the thing. So, like, Quebec, there were a lot of Quebec, like, most of the officials, the people running the sport, were actually from Quebec. Apparently, Quebec has a really, like, intense, really popular diving program.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So a lot of the people there were French.
Yeah.
So obviously for the Quebec athletes, we would announce them in French.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, prochainement, so-and-so de l'équipe du Québec, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, prochainement, I was thinking next up, like next.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's not what it means. It means shortly.
Oh. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like, I did a French degree, and, you know, if you were writing an essay and you wanted to say next,
yeah.
Like, here's another argument, you would say prochainement.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the difference is in the context.
Oh, yeah, because writing, obviously, you can't mean shortly. Interesting.
So,
yeah.
I felt embarrassed about it, but the lead announcer that did most of the things, like she's an actual diver and she's a trained official and everything, so she understands a little bit more about the process and about everything. So that's why I was her assistant. And she just said it's not a big deal, like, you know. And you know, I'm sure she made some mistakes too, and
yeah. It's
so,
you know,
like,
it's expected.
Yeah. So it wasn't a big deal, but that was sort of it was my learning moment.
Yeah. That's funny, though, because, yeah, I would have 100% thought that prochainement meant next. That's what it is in my brain, too.
Yeah. And, I mean, it could also easily just be a Quebec thing versus a French thing. You know what I mean? Because when we were in school,
exactly,
for me,
yeah.
I learned more of the...
France,
I definitely learned more French.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my profs were French. I think I only had one prof from Quebec.
Yeah.
When I was in university.
Yeah. And it really is different, like, based on who you learn from. Yeah.
So, anyway. But yeah, so that was really fun. I know so much about diving numerical codes now.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy. I know we're getting off topic, but they literally have numbers and letters that signify what type of dive they're going to do. So, like, it's normally, it could be a 3-digit or a 4-digit number, at least at the level that I was watching.
Yeah.
So, if it's a 3-digit number, the first digit indicates whether they're doing it forward, backward,
handstand.
No, that's different.
No handstands?
That's different. Or they could be doing a reverse, so like they could be jumping off forward, but going back.
Yeah.
Then the second number I never learned. I don't know. And then the last number indicates how many half turns they're gonna do.
Oh, cool.
So, like, if it was a 1, it means they're going to jump off and do a 1/2 turn in the air before landing in the water. And then there was A, B, C, or D at the end indicates whether it's, like, forward, or whether it's like a somersault, or whether it's a pike, or like the position of the dive.
Yeah.
Then it gets, so then when, oh right, this is what that middle number means. So then if there's another, if it's a 4-digit, all those positions stay the same, but then the first number then indicates that it's a twister.
Oh, okay.
And then the third number indicates how many half twists.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if it's a 1, it means they're going to do a half twist in with the rest of it. It was very complicated.
Yeah, sounds it.
So, anyway, I learned so much. So it was fun.
That's cool.
I did not hit my reading goals, though.
No, that happens.
Yeah,
maybe we'll leave summer reading till next week.
Yeah, that's good. Good point. You're a genius.
We've had a large summer.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. I went to go see, I watched some of the swimming online. I watched the replays of swimming.
The shots were not good. Of the races?
Yeah. It wasn't great.
It was bad.
Yeah.
They, obviously, for those of you that didn't watch, so when you swim, it's 50 meters is the shortest race, and that's one length of the pool. And normally, they would either have, like, for the Olympics, they have a camera on, like, a runner that follows the swimmers down the length of the pool. However, they didn't do that at this games. Instead, they had 3 stationary video cameras, and so they would have it on the first video camera. You would watch them all jump in the water, and then they would swim. And as soon as the last swimmer went out of frame, they would then just cut to the next camera. Then the same thing. You would watch all the swimmers swim out of frame, and then you go to the last camera. The issue was, though, by the time the last swimmer went out of frame in the second camera and it went to the last one, the race was over. Like, the winner touched. So you never saw who actually won the race. It was garbage.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I didn't watch a whole lot. I just watched a few races. And then we went downtown and we watched the cycling criterium.
Mm-hmm.
So they do a bunch of circuits, which was really cool. And we just sat at, like, a deck of a bar, and we were right at the finish line. So we just drank beers and watched it, and it was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. So and there was other stuff. We ended up going out of town for a fair chunk of it. But we probably would have went down to, like, the open water swim if it wasn't during the weekday. Because a lot of it was during the weekday too, and obviously we were working. But anything on the weekend we could see, we would have. And it was cool to have, like, and there were so many people around, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was
fun times. Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll get into it. And just a heads up, this is not a spoiler-free zone, and things might get saucy.
So this is week 2 of us reading the Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. And this week we are reading chapters 10 to 23. So last week we were reacquainted with Mische, who was, like, the bubbly, fun-loving, human-turned vampire friend of Rain. And she has been captured by the Shadowborn vampires for killing their prince and heir, who was her maker. And she did that in the last book, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So instead of chopping off her head, the bastard son of the king, Asar, claimed her instead and said he could use her on his quest. He is on a mission from Nyaxia herself, the goddess of vampires. I know that's not actually what she is. She's a goddess, and she created vampires. I know she's not the goddess of vampires, but whatever.
But kind of.
They worship her.
Yeah.
To resurrect her dead husband, Alaris, who was killed by the rest of the gods and goddesses of the White Pantheon, of which Misha's god, Atraxis, the god of the sun, is a part of. So, because she can control fire and has like a fire power, he needs her to help him descend through the 5 levels of the underworld to get all of the relics of Alaris so that they can resurrect him properly. But something that she has been told, Atraxis came to her and visited her and has requested that she go through all of this, resurrect Alaris, and then kill him. So she's got like a secret mission.
Yeah.
So they're going into these levels of descent. So each one they have to find a temple and find the relic. So they are right now, we are sort of leaving off with them in the first level of descent, which is body. And they have been attacked by wraiths, which are spirits of the dead that have not managed to make it all the way to the underworld. So they are like, they're in despair. Like they're suffering souls.
Yeah.
So they were attacked, and it is the 2 of them, Asar and Mische, and as well they have Chandra, who is she is a human woman who was resurrected by Asar to help them. She is also an acolyte of Atraxis. She also has light power, so he brought her along too as a contingency. And then Elias as well, who is Asar's sister's like guard, really.
Yeah, and we think lover, but
no
lover. Reason.
No reason whatsoever. We have no evidence to go on. We're just assuming. So he has been instructed to go with them and accompany them by the king. So it's the 4 of them. We're picking up where they have been sort of attacked and surrounded by these wraiths, these human souls or vampire souls or whatever, just these souls that are attracted to life. And if they touch you, you like burn. It like sucks it. We find out in a little bit that it actually sucks the life from you if they touch you, but I don't think we know that yet. I think it's just like you can't let them touch you because it like burns you.
Mm-hmm.
So they are surrounded by wraiths, so they run for the first temple. They make it inside, and there is a giant bird skeleton that used to be a guardian that has now was dead, but like reanimated, and this bird attacks them. So I feel like that was so much.
Yeah, but that's fine.
So the giant bird, like comes for them, and they all like, of course, scatter. I wonder how big this temple is, because there's like gigantic mushrooms that they can hide behind, and like,
yeah,
it feels ginormous, but at the same time
makes
small.
It makes me think of Pokemon, like a Moltres, like the giant firebird.
Right.
Like, I think it's very big, but that's just because I was thinking of Pokemon.
Oh, I don't mean the bird. I mean the temple.
Oh, the temple. Yeah. The temple has to be big if they can hide behind
giant mushrooms.
Yeah.
Because when I first read that, I was like, did they go back outside? Like, I was so confused. But no, apparently the mushrooms are inside the temple.
Yes.
So, like, obviously they hide behind them. But obviously, like, I don't really know what that does. Because the bird could, like, fly around it and be like, there you are.
Also, the bird is fire.
Yeah. And the bird, like, can knock down the mushrooms, like, getting rid of their hiding spot. So, like, too bad, so sad. Elias, what have I been saying?
I don't remember. I haven't had to say his name.
Oh.
Out loud, because he only showed up in your part.
Oh, well.
Elias is what I was thinking.
This week I'm going to call him Elias. I don't know why.
Cool.
But I'm
Yeah,
going to switch it up. I'm going to give him representation of however his name is pronounced.
Yeah. We'll change it every week.
Yeah.
I'll probably change it every time I say it, to be honest. Not on purpose.
So he attacks the bird. But obviously the bird is fire, so he burns his arm.
Yep. He's very brutish.
Yeah. He is a attack first, ask questions later.
Think later, yeah.
Yeah. So Asar sort of like looks at Mische and Chandra and is like, okay, you're up. Like, your turn. So they decide, okay, well, let's attack it with our light magic and see what that does. And it does nothing. Which
is just so funny.
So,
but also terrible because she's hurting herself and it's doing nothing.
Yeah. So, again, we didn't do this in the recap, but Mische, every time she tries to use her magic, she gets more burns on her arms, like blisters and boils and pus, and it's really gross. So, Mische, like, doesn't know what she's supposed to do. But, like, there are more wraiths coming. So they're like, we need to do something. And Mische notices that the bird is, like, stumbling around and knocking into things. So, like, it doesn't seem to be in charge of its own body. Mm-hmm. And she realizes that since it's supposed to be dead, Atroxis's magic is probably commanding it. And its fire magic is not natural. Like, the bird doesn't naturally have fire magic. Yeah. And she says it looks like the bird is in pain. And then she notices that there are, like, shadows and light intertwining around the bird's belly. And that sort of clues her in that Atroxis put the relic inside the bird and that the bird is a vessel. Which, like, how dare you? Like, I wonder how the bird died. Like, did Atroxis kill it only then to make it a vessel? Because if so, how dare you, sir, kill one of the guardians of the underworld?
Yeah. Because
we don't know how the bird died. We just know that it died.
Well, and even if it died of any other cause, him reanimating it, it's just another, like,
it's
notch
still
in the, like,
how dare
he's
you?
a terrible god, yeah.
Yeah, like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's a point of, like, he definitely doesn't respect the balance of life and death because he doesn't die.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
So, the four of them decide they're going to make a plan that Mische and Chandra are going to pull the fire magic out of the bird's belly, and the boys are going to grab the relic, and they'll make a mad dash. But obviously that means they got to get closer to the bird. Mm-mm. So Asar actually throws his magic at this glass wall of the temple and lets the dead inside to distract the bird. Then he instructs Elias to hold most of them off. Really, all of them.
Yeah.
And then he uses his magic again to grab the bird's head and hold it down. So he's holding the bird so that the girls can use their magic to pull the sun out. So Mische and Chandra use their magic, and they pull the fire magic that belongs to Atroxis out of the bird. And only acolytes of Atroxis can do this, which is why they're important. So for some reason, Asar and Mische climb on top of the bird, which I don't really understand, but, like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And Mische can feel that, like, the bird isn't angry anymore, but it's devastated at its years of unrest. So it's just, like, feeling really, like, sad, devastated, annoyed that it hasn't...
Defeated, yeah.
Yeah, that it hasn't been able to rest for as long as it has.
Been dead.
So they cut open its back so they can get the relic, and Mische tells it can finally rest. So she grabs the relic and immediately gets a memory. And the memory is actually of Nyaxia and Alaris meeting for the first time. So she stabs him with a branch, even though it doesn't impact him whatsoever to be stabbed with a branch. And, like, it's in his point of view, and he can tell that she's, like, feisty. Like, she's not bowing to him, even though he's one of, like, the white pantheon gods. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm a goddess, bitch. Like, I'm just as good.
Yeah.
But he knows that all the other gods are looking for her. And I'm like, why? Why are they looking for her? Do we know that yet?
I feel like we forget. Oh. Because later this week, we get another memory, spoiler alert. And he's like, he can tell why they all fear her. So is it just that they fear her because she's a powerful woman?
I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that reasoning.
Yeah. I don't know for sure, but I don't remember. Maybe she did something. I meant to figure it out, and then I didn't.
I don't know.
And we might get more in this book.
We might.
Too. I can't really remember what we got in the last ones.
Well, I mean, theoretically, if they do manage to resurrect Alaris, we might get something from Alaris' point of view.
Yeah.
So they introduce themselves. She's like, I'm Nyaxia, and he's like, I'm Alaris. And then the vision is over. And both of them, like, come back to consciousness after the vision, and they're actually holding the branch that Nyaxia stabbed Alaris with, and it's still covered in his blood. So, she's important.
Yeah. What's the first level again? Body.
Body. Which is...
So, his blood.
Makes sense. His blood is the body.
Yeah. I wanted to understand.
So, Asar puts the branch in his pack, and they deal with the reality that the room is filling up with wraiths.
Which is their own fault.
Yeah. I mean, they wanted this. So, Asar leads them to the altar where he makes a doorway out of the pool of blood, which I don't get, but okay. And, of course, for whatever reason, Mische is the last to get to the doorway, and when she's about to go through, a dead body / soul pops out of the blood, telling Mische they missed her, and they wanted them to go home. And Mische just thinks that she hasn't seen this face, except in her nightmares, in 50 years. And she says, oh, it's Eamon. And he, like, wraps himself around her. So, obviously, Asar to the rescue, pushes him away, and moves to, like, stab him, but Mische tells him not to. And then they fight off more wraiths, and then they fall through the portal.
What actually would have happened if he stabbed him?
I don't know. Maybe he would have, like, turned to ash and, like, resurrected elsewhere. I mean, you can't kill him. He's already dead.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay. Cool.
So, after they fall through the portal, Mische, like, sort of regains consciousness, and the first thing she hears is somebody throwing up their guts.
Oof.
So she looks around and recognizes the ceiling as Morthrin, and thinks, like, are we back to where we started? So Asar is passed out next to her, and they worry that he's dead, but Mische, like, screams his name, and she's like, I'm gonna slap him. Rain always appreciates a good slap to consciousness, but he does come to before she can slap him. So they ask, like, are we back where we started? And Asar explains that they are and they aren't, which I don't understand. Like, I think it's they aren't. But this is like an in-between. That they're still in the descent, but that Morthrin exists as a bridge between worlds. So it actually has to connect to the other worlds. So Mische, like, sort of for our benefit, likens it to like a tree with roots. So the prison is the tree on the above, like in the regular world, and the roots are what connects the descent levels to each other. So right now she's like, well, we're in the roots, so they've carved out sort of a little space. So Asar tells them that they have a week or two of traveling through like Morthrin, I guess, like through the roots before they reach the next sanctum, which is breath. So they need to rest and relax a little bit. So Elias asks about the relic and asks like what it was. But Asar doesn't tell him, even though Elias says that it matters. But Asar's like, nope, not telling you. So the section of Morthrin that they're in, it only has a couple of rooms. But the castle provides food and clothes and even a bath. And I'm just thinking, a castle that provides for them. Where have we read that before? It seems like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, even,
and I want one.
I do also want one.
I'm just jealous because that's what I want my house to do. Imagine, you wouldn't have to get rid of shit in your house. It would do it for you.
I'm sorry, no. Cooking supper would be the thing that I would absolutely want a magic house to do.
Just cleaning the kitchen. It's always dirty. Always.
Yeah.
It is never clean.
But imagine if you had a
magic house that just kept it clean.
Oh my god.
I can't imagine.
So, Mische, finally, finally, gets to have some blood to drink. This is the first time in the book that she has a drink.
Which is why I was like, she has to have before now, or she'd be dead.
I don't know, I don't remember how long they can go in between feedings.
I know, but she was also bleeding herself. So, you'd think she'd need it even more. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't know. She does mention that, she is a devout person and she's used to fasting.
Yeah, but she was bleeding excessively. You'd think to heal yourself, you'd need blood.
But maybe that's why she didn't heal her. And Asar healed her.
Yeah. But he healed her somewhat because she still had blood on her dress afterwards. So, a vampire doesn't produce their own blood normally. But I don't really know what these vampires
They must produce their own because how else would they make babies?
Exactly. It's not normal vampires. They make children. Yeah. Anyway.
So she finally drinks some blood. They set up blankets in one of the rooms. And she sees Chandra patching up her wounds, and she goes to help her. And she hears her praying in her mother tongue. And so, they converse in the same language. And they discuss, where they were born and where they served. So, Mischa's from Slenka, but moved to Vostis when she was 8. And that's where she was chosen and served. And Chandra is from Aren. And, apparently Chandra's sect, used to throw orgy parties with, great food. So Mische, patches her up. And Mische asks Chandra what brought her to Obatreus or whatever. And she reveals that she didn't come by choice, that the vampires needed a midwife. And Mische understands that, she was likely kidnapped because vampires weren't great at healing. So they often used humans for it. And I guess, the age-old story of vampires and babies, vampires aren't great at giving birth, and they often die, and their babies die, so they want midwives who actually know what they're at. So Chandra tells Mische that she must be very devout to have kept the sun god's favor after turning. And then she's like, oh, when all this is over, we can go home. As if Mische would return to Vostis.
Yeah.
So, Mischa's not crazy about that because she's like, oh, yeah, Mische doesn't think she could ever go home.
Well, her first time seeing a vampire, they were, killing it.
Yeah.
So if she went back, I guess maybe if she showed that she still had the favor, but still, I don't know.
Yeah. So everyone goes to sleep, but obviously Mische could not sleep, obviously, because she's our female main character. So, who needs sleep? Not her.
Who needs sleep? Who needs food?
Yeah. So she kept thinking about the dead boy, Aomen, that grabbed her. And she's starting to think, well, maybe she just projected his face, Aomen's face, on who it actually was. She doesn't think it was really Aomen.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, she misses Rain, and she wants one of his hugs, and I guess she feels like, obviously she's distanced from them, but I guess she's starting to feel, like, homesick.
Yeah.
But she does say that, like, she felt she had a stain on her soul by disgracing a god and killing a prince. So she disgraced her god, and then she killed the prince of the Shadowborn vampires.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't want to hurt them by being around. I guess she thinks that, like, there'll be collateral damage.
Yeah.
And she thinks to herself, like, I'm a missionary. It's my job to find broken souls and fix them. So that's what she feels like her job is. So she finally does fall asleep, and when she does, she dreams of her wedding to Atraxis. She was 16, and they're in a bedroom, and he's eating apricots, and she asks him, "You'll never abandon us, will you?" And he tells her, of course not. She is his forever, and then they kiss. So we did discuss last week that, like, she married Atraxis, and, like, even though it's sort of similar to, like, I don't take it as, it's, she says it's not a romantic marriage. So, like, you do sort of liken it to, like, a nun taking their vows.
Yeah.
Right? Because technically, you could say nuns are married to God.
Yeah.
However, it was I'll say, religious ceremony of her pledging her life to God, for God, Atraxis. Yeah. But then they actually do have sex, which is just skeezy.
And her body. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So she wakes up suddenly and thought that somebody was grabbing her arm, but there was no one there. And then she thinks it's strange that Lucy isn't there, because Asar, like, normally drops them and then he goes off by himself, but Lucy normally stays with them and sort of watches over them or, like, guards them or whatever. So she gets up, and she feels like a gust of wind pushing her towards the door, which is weird. And, like, she can feel that something is wrong. So, like, even though it's not smart to, like, go down a dark hallway alone, she does. And the wind keeps pushing her faster and faster, as if to say, like, hurry. And she thinks it's actually the house speaking to her, like, Morthrin itself. Which I think is cool.
Yeah.
But, like, I wish it was confirmed.
I wonder if it will be, because she gets feelings from the house again later, too, so.
Maybe.
I guess it's not, it's like, they're already calling it, like, a tree, so it does make sense that it's kind of alive.
Yes. Yeah. So, she comes upon another gate, and the gate is, like, to another world. And the dead are coming out of it, these wraiths, and Asar is there fighting them off. But he is losing, and Lucy is not helping. So, like, Mische she rolls up her sleeve, she jumps right in.
Yeah.
So, like, she helps fight them off with her magic, even though it's, like, really, really hard to respond to her at first. And one of the dead actually touch her, and she is pulled back into a memory and thinks that it's the same boy from earlier. And, like, she hears it saying in her brain, so, like, from her memory, "Mische, let's go home, he'll forgive you," which we don't really understand yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I sort of do, because I've read a little bit ahead. So, like,
yeah,
I get it, but, like, we don't really understand who this kid is, who they're talking about, or anything like that. So, she lets the wraith, like, crawl over her. I guess she's, like, feeling like this is her punishment. But Lucy and Asar, like, manage to get their bearings enough where they can pull him off and shove him through the gate. And then they manage to shove everyone else back through, and they close the gate. Asar is, like, super injured, and he's fighting losing consciousness. And he goes over to the arch and starts muttering things that, like, Mische can't hear. And she goes to the opposite side of the room, and there's an arch there too, and she sees the glyphs, and she can feel them pulsing and feel that it's like Asar's magic. So he is trying to fill the glyphs and repair the gate so it stays closed. So it seems like these gates are weakening and therefore accidentally opening and letting the dead through. So she can feel through these glyphs that his strength is not going to be enough. So she actually does something that I don't think she's ever done before, and uses her Shadowborn magic that she has been ignoring for 50 years to help him close it. So she has Shadowborn magic, but she has 100% been ignoring it because she doesn't want to admit that she's a Shadowborn vampire. So it's like instinct for her to use it.
She's using it to help him.
Mm-hmm. So using her magic makes her like it. I say it makes her fly through the air, but it's like it's so powerful. She like flies back against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then Asar passes out, and she is close to passing out, and she thinks she sees Atrox's face being disappointed before disappearing. So obviously disappointed that she used her shadow magic. So she manages to get up, and she goes over to Asar, and this time she like does slap him to wake him up, but he wakes up on his own a split second before she slaps him, so he was already awake, and she was like, "Hiya!"
I love it.
I know, me too. So Lucy shows her, like, so I guess she manages to get Asar up, but, like, he is in really rough shape, and Lucy, like, I guess Mische has to, like, Misha's in a little bit better shape, but not by much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So she manages to, like, hold Asar up, like, hold under his arm, and, like, they manage to work their way up the stairs. And Lucy shows her to a very lived-in, well-worn, like, bedroom and ensuite. It's obviously Asar's room.
Yeah.
And Mische, like, comments that, like, she can smell his blood, and it smells incredible.
Which, another
even better,
thing...
she says it smells better than humans. And I'm like, what?
But this happened to Rain and Araya.
Did it?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Which is why I kind of wondered if it was like a mate thing. Or like a, you know what I mean?
I don't see how it's not.
Yeah. I don't think they call them mates, but I think it is like their blood calls to each other kind of thing.
So, Mische is also on the verge of passing out. Because she was touched by the dead so much. But Lucy manages to help her put Asar in, like, this weird bath. Like, not the tub itself is not weird, but there's, like, a weird, like, shimmery silver liquid in the tub.
Mm-hmm.
So they put Asar in, and then Lucy commands that Mische just climb in right on top of him. So she just curls on top of him, and they cuddle, and then they're both passed out, cuddling in this tub.
What if you drown, guys?
That was my question. Like, I'm assuming it's going to be harder for her to drown, because she's literally perched on top of somebody.
On top of him? Yeah, but what if she sinks him? Like, is Lucy just standing there, like, pulling his head out of the...
I'm assuming it's not that big of a tub.
Yeah, maybe. He's too tall.
Yeah, obviously he is.
Yeah.
So, time passes. We don't know how much. And Mische wakes up first and just, like, looks at how pretty he is. And then he wakes up and asks why she's on top of him. And I'm like, dude, are you gonna hog all the healing potion for yourself? Like, what were you expecting?
Did he know that she helped, though?
Yeah, like, he's the one who pulled the wraith off of her.
Oh, yes.
So he would have to know that she was also injured. She was touched a heck of a lot by a wraith.
Yes, I just meant it seemed like they both used their magic, and then they were like, okay, that was the last bit we had. So I was just like, she could have been fine after that ish.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously she needed it. No, she just decided to crawl into your lap for fun.
Yeah. So she just reminds him, like, dude, I saved your life again. And I'm like, when was the first time? Oh, right, never mind. When they both fell off the path.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm glad you remembered. I was like, what?
Yeah, it took me a while. So it took me the time from when I wrote that to now.
Fair.
So, they get out of the tub, and they have, like, a brief moment of ogling each other, because, like, they're both in wet clothes, so they can see things.
Ooh.
So, I guess they ogle each other, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, I can't look at you. And so then they sort of start, like, not avoiding each other, but, like, changing the subject. So Asar explains where they are. They are in one of his rooms. And she's like, what? And he says that he's lived in Morthrin forever, so he's carved out little sanctuaries here and there. And he then explains to her what happened at the gate. So he says that they have earned a following after being in the descent. So I guess it seems like their presence has left a mark, and that mark has been followed. And the dead are obviously attracted to it, and they manage to breach the gate because the wards and the glyphs are dying. They're breaking. And they are actually originally Alaris's wards, and they are over 2,000 years old. So, like, it's about time they get repaired.
I'm assuming he died 2,000 years ago.
I would assume.
That's, why they're decaying.
Yeah. So he sort of has this vulnerable moment where he says that it's becoming too much for him to maintain by himself. And, like, he has to be responsible for it, but it's getting to be a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But then he tells her to suck it up. But no, then he does, like, he sort of, like, sucks up the vulnerability and then tells her to stop being careless with her fire magic. And, like, is sort of like, don't just use it willy-nilly. Like, use it only in dire circumstances. And then he reminds her, he's like, you have powerful shadow magic. Like, use that to your advantage. So then she actually, like, tells him that she was 19 when Malik turned her. And she had no choice. And she lost everything that day. So whatever magic he gave her, she doesn't want it. She has her faith. And she has the love of her God. And that's all she needs. And he tells her that that doesn't look like love to him. And I mean, it's like valid point.
Exactly what we were talking about last week. I'm glad he said it.
Yeah. So he says that he's glad Malik is dead, and he's glad that she's the one who killed him. But he also says the power isn't his brother's anymore; it's hers, and she can't ignore how strong it is when he can't. So, like, I guess she's really powerful. So, like, good for her.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
So she asks a question that's a little bit taboo now. She asks, like, why she feels this connection to him. And he tells her, like, oh, it's because my brother was your maker. But she remembers the connection to Malik. And she also remembers, like, feeling a little something towards the princess and the king. But she says that felt weaker than what she has with him.
I wonder what it could be.
I know. So he just changes the subject and tells her that she's good at magic and she should use every weapon in her arsenal on the descent. And then he even says, like, I could also use your help closing all these gates, and it would be a lot more helpful if I had another Shadowborn magic user. So she just feels like if she says yes, she's betraying Atroxus.
Yeah.
Like, using that magic at all. So she does say no. But then he tells her that when he was exiled to Morthrin, he thought there was nothing left living for. But he did build a life here for himself after destroying his life because he heard the cries of help from the abandoned souls and they needed somebody.
So, has he been exiled here completely by himself? I guess he talks to Lucy.
Yeah.
But other than Lucy, I'm like, is that the entirety of your connection to people and you're still sane?
He does, like, it is gonna discuss, like, he does have, like, other people in his life.
Okay.
So, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
So, he just changes the subject and tells her that she's really good at magic and that she should be using every weapon in her arsenal. Oh, I already said this, didn't I? I did.
Yeah.
My bad.
All good.
So, Mische just understands, like, you know, he was like, I seen all these abandoned souls, they needed someone. And she understands that he is like her. He is a healer, devoting himself to fixing the broken things that no one else sees. And I guess seeing that side of him makes her agree to help him with her Shadowborn magic. So, like, she has agreed she will use it only to close the doors.
Yeah. Like, she's not gonna learn how to protect herself or anything that would be useful, but she will help close the gates. Because it's the right thing to do.
Yes, and she is, above all things, a very moral person.
Yeah.
So then we go to part 3, which is called Breath. So that is the second level of the descent. And the first thing we have again is an interlude. So we hear more about the girl. She grew up in the Citadel, taking lessons and getting visits from Atroxus. It said that sometimes she would go out and go on missions to convert souls to the light with her sister and other acolytes. And she just genuinely believed everything she told the souls. Like, everything she told people, she wholeheartedly believed. Mm-hmm. That, like, the light saved her when she had nothing, and the light is everything, and it is goodness, and it is love, and blah, blah, blah. However, she does think that her sister is better at it than she is. And she thinks that, like, she loves working with the lost souls. But she could not sit still for her, like, just lessons. And she loves magic, but she hated combat training with magic. So, like, there were aspects of what she had to do she wasn't a fan of. Mm-hmm. So, she was really dreading the day that she would be called on to, like, go fight in battle on behalf of the light, even though her sister would go every once in a while. And her best friend was also called to fight before she was. So her and her friend, it's Eamon. I feel like
anytime it's her only friend. I think. Yeah. Anytime she talks about her friend, it's him.
Yeah, I feel like I need to state like that's who it is because otherwise, it could get.
Well, in the interlude, it's always her friend this, her friend that, and I'm like, just give us his name. We know it's him.
Yeah. So, in the vision in the interlude, they are sitting together, and she's wondering what it would be like to kiss him. And, like, they're just sitting, like, on the floor by her bed, and, like, I think maybe their legs might be touching side to side. Like, not anything scandalous at all. But then her sister comes in and interrupts them. And I don't know if they were, like, looking at each other, or, like, if they looked on the verge of potentially kissing. But her sister interrupts them. The boy freaks out and leaves. And then the sister freaks out and tells this girl that she can never betray the sun god. That he chose her and she is only meant for him. So essentially, you're not allowed to fool around with any teenage boys. You're not allowed to have any experiences. You are just...
Yeah, so she's never kissed anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
except for Atraxis.
Yeah. So she realizes, the girl, the heavy responsibility that she has, and sort of like, I feel like there's like a moment of regret that she can't do what everyone else does.
Yeah. Do you remember how old she was here?
16. Maybe 15.
It is
no,
16?
maybe before that. It could be 14 or 15 too.
Yeah, because the next one talks about her turning 16.
Yeah, so this one might be 14.
Yeah, so she's pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it sort of just harkens back to, well, I actually don't know if we've done it yet, but like, maybe we haven't had the discussion yet. I'm mixing up what happens where in the book. But like, her and Asar have a conversation. It's literally
Next.
the next thing. Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Okay, good. I was like, am I supposed to guess what conversation they had by you saying that? Because I can't. I'm good, but I'm not that good.
Anyway, so like, her sister essentially just says like, you can't ever do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You have a heavy responsibility. You can't betray the sun god. Like, you know, you can't be like other girls. You can't make mistakes. So,
Which, telling someone they can't make mistakes is the surest way to get them to make a mistake.
100%. So, like, she realizes that, like, she gets special treatment because she was chosen. So she needs to, like, act like it, I guess. So, like, she tries to brush her feelings away. But the boy has to leave the next morning and go on a mission. And I'm like, how much of that? No, he was already leaving to go before they had their moment. So,
yeah.
I think he was going on his first mission.
Mm-hmm. But I do wonder if they were like, they're getting close. Like, people might have noticed before they noticed.
True. So, she's, like, watching him leave. And he's, like, she's at a gate. And she subconsciously pushes against the bars. So, like, sort of, we're getting a little hint that maybe she's, like, not so happy.
Yeah.
At least subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
So, back to the present, the interlude is over, and they are traveling to the next sanctum. And obviously it's taking a while. Like Asar said, it would take them a couple weeks. So at night, while they're all, like, resting, Asar takes Mische to the gates that are nearby, and she helps him restore the glyphs. But she feels like she's hiding things from Atraxis. Like, the fact that she's using this magic.
Mm-hmm.
Because he told her at the beginning that he won't be able to see her, especially the further down she goes.
Yeah.
So she's like, he can't see me do this, but it feels so like she feels like she's lying to him.
Yeah.
And she's finding joy in calling the magic because it's easy.
Yeah, and it's not fucking painful.
Yeah. Like, because she says, like, calling her fire feels like she's lifting a boulder.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with the shadow magic is, like, it's nothing. So, she refuses to train with her magic any more than helping with the gates, which makes Asar frustrated. And he tries to, like, poke into her mind to get her to practice putting up barriers, and she's like, stop. So, there was only one other time that the dead got through the gates, and she said that he was one of the dead. So, we're assuming it's Aemon.
Yeah.
And he reached for Mische and only Mische. And she just, like, pulls away from him before he's pushed back through the gates. So later, Asar and her are sitting together, and he asks, like, who is this boy? Was he your lover? And she's like, I was a priestess, remember? I had a vow of chastity. And he's like, your sect doesn't require vows of chastity.
How do you know all this, dude?
I know, he knows everything. But she just has to lie and be like, oh, mine did. When the reality is that, no. Nobody else had to take a vow of chastity, just her. So, I guess my thing is that, like, was being married to Atraxis and being a bride of the sun so much more rare than we're hearing about.
I think it is very rare. Like, I don't think that Chandra is a bride of the sun.
No, I
think
she's just an acolyte.
Yeah. I don't think, like, I don't know. I can't imagine she's the only one, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I wonder. Like, are there more?
I wonder if is there only one at a time? But, like, why?
Well, there wouldn't be.
He's a god.
Yeah.
I can't imagine he'd just be like, only one, please.
Yeah.
Does he have a goddess bride? I don't either.
So, she asks him whether those trapped in the descent ever make their way to the underworld. And I guess she's thinking of Eamon. And he tells her sometimes. But usually they stay trapped in the in-between for eternity. And I'm like, how do we know they got trapped? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's some pieces missing that we're not 100% on yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
So he asks what the boy's name is, and she thinks that it's a name she hasn't spoken in so long. Even to Rain. Like, Rain has no idea about any of this.
Yeah.
But she just says his name is Eamon. So, like, it's wild that she's telling this guy that, and she wouldn't tell Rain, who's been her, like, bestie for 50 years.
Yeah.
And also, it's a straight up LOTR name. Like, Eamon. This is absolutely a Lord of the Rings name.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
100%.
So, they reach the door to the next sanctum, and in their travels, Mische has realized some things about her companions. So she's realized that Asar really likes the rules, even though in the beginning when she first met him, he was like, I'm the one who breaks the rules for the king. But, like, he really likes them.
Yeah.
And that Elias does better with threats he can stab. So again, like, action first, think later.
Yeah.
And also, he's, like, really uncomfortable about this whole journey. So, they approach the next gate, they all hold hands, and they walk through the gate together. And, like, she was sort of uneasy, but she feels this, like, single reassuring squeeze from Asar. So, they land in the dust of the Breath Sanctum, and they need to go really quick so that they can try and avoid the wraiths, so that the wraiths don't sense their presence.
Mm-hmm.
So Mische is super worried that Eamon might show up, or worse, somebody else that she knows.
Yeah. I'm not excited for that one if it happens.
What one? What are you?
Her sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not there yet.
I don't know if it happens.
I don't either.
Because I'm not there either. But if it does happen, I can only imagine how, like, soul crushing it'll be for her.
But I also wonder if it'll give her, like, peace and healing. Because, like, I feel like she harbors so much guilt about everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like she just needs this, like, clarity from her sister that, like, it was not your fault. We love you. Like, maybe even her sister saying, I'm sorry. I, like, gave you this not an impossible task, but, like, I, sacrificed.
So much pressure.
Yeah, like, you were in such an important role. And, like... I
worry that her sister's gonna be like...
A bitch?
Yeah, it was your fucking fault. How did you become a vampire? You turned your back on the sun. Like, you know what I mean? Because I feel like she loves Atraxis more than she loves...
I don't think so.
Mische.
I don't think she loves her more than Mische. I think that's a stretch. I think it's a close second.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm worried that it could go that way. And I think Mische would just be destroyed.
Yeah. I agree with you. If she does if she does show up, and she does say, like, you're a terrible person, you need to die, I do think that, like, that's gonna be bad for Mische's, like, mental health.
Yeah. Well, especially since, like, her job was killing vampires. I can't imagine she'll be like, all good.
Yeah, that's true.
But maybe, I don't know. I guess we'll see. It might not even happen. We're just making shit up here.
That's true. So, they realize that they need to find the temple that the relic is hiding in, but they have no clue what to look for. And Asar explains that they need to find the thing that symbolizes vivacity. which is like super intangible, like, thing to try and look for.
Yeah.
But Mische understands that, like, what they're looking for is something that, like, makes your heart beat fast or your breath quicken. And then she thinks of Asar holding her hand and, like, likens that to the same feeling. And I just don't love how innocent she is. Because, like, again, she's only been with Atraxis.
Mm-hmm.
And we can sort of assume that he hasn't touched her like that in 50 years.
Yeah, oh my god, I can't imagine.
And so that means that she has not had a partner in 50 years.
Yeah.
So, like, it's one of the things that really bothers me. We've talked about it a bajillion times about, like, this level of innocence that so many of our female main characters have.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets a bit worse later this week, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Fun times.
Mm-hmm. So, she sees the wraiths in this sanctum, and they're, like, dotted all over the hills and everything like that. And she realized that these guys are less angry. Like, because in body, they're still really angry. And they've sort of moved on to grief. So they're all a bit, like, melancholy. So Asar asks, like, what she thinks. And she says, like, it feels familiar here because it feels like being turned. Like, being stuck in between being alive and being dead. And watching everything else change. But nothing can touch you. You're not alive and you're not dead, but you're starving for both. And I'm like, is that how you always feel, or is that just how you feel when you're turning?
That's a good question.
It's a really good, like, description of how it must feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know.
So she sort of just says, like, oh, I know that makes no sense. But he says, no, it does. It makes perfect sense. And I'm like, does he have experience? Like, I know he's a vampire, but, like, if this is just about turning.
Yeah, it must be something she feels
all the time.
More than just then. Because we kind of alluded to last week that she doesn't really remember turning.
No.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Asar can't have been turned.
No, that's
right?
what I'm saying.
Okay.
He was born.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a fuckery that I'm not ready for.
Okay. So, unless it was with, no, because that would be another Araya situation. I was thinking, like, what if it was a human?
Yeah. And then, well, who knows?
Yeah. So, they walk through the hallways surrounded by the dead, and actually the dead ignore them until they find this temple surrounded by beasts. So, the beasts are actually soul eaters, and they're attracted to the wraiths. So they just, like, watch a beast eat one of the wraiths. And there's about 10 of them that they can see, like, surrounding the temple. Because I guess the explanation is that the relic attracts the wraiths because it's life. It's a piece of Alaris's life. Therefore, it attracts wraiths. Therefore, because there's a bunch of wraiths in the vicinity, that attracts soul eaters. So, because there's a bunch of soul eaters surrounding the temple, Asar is like, that means there's a shit ton of wraiths inside the temple. But Asar just says, as long as they're calm and quiet, they shouldn't bother them. Because again, they're not aggressive, they're grieving.
Yeah.
So, they're close to the temple, and the beasts are, like, ignoring them. When they're approached by a wraith that freaked because she recognized Chandra and tried to grab her. And that caused a commotion.
Of course.
So then the wraiths and the beasts started watching them. And the wraiths, like, descended on them. So they were like, shit, we gotta run. So they run to the temple. And when they're almost there, Mische trips. And one of the beasts, like, gets close and tries to eat her. Asar screams for her and extends his magic to her, causing her magic to respond in kind, and she accidentally lets out, like, this blast of shadow that repels the soul eater. And then Asar manages to, like, get close to her, grabs her arm, and pulls her up into the temple. So they get inside the temple and they look around and they are all very confused because there should be a ton of wraiths inside. But there are not. It is empty. So Asar uses his magic to sort of sense the place out and what's going on. And he has a moment of panic before telling them that we need to ... before everything goes dark. And she I guess Mische sees Asar's silhouette being surrounded by mist coiling around his body. And then she sees a woman emerging from the dark. And she says, I knew you'd be back. That's what I love about you. You're so very, very loyal.
Ooh. There's always a woman.
There's always a woman.
So Asar says don't look at her, but Mische, of course, is already looking at her because that's what you do.
Yeah, if someone says don't look at her, you're obviously going to look.
Yeah. And she just thinks like she's repulsively stunning. So I guess there's like a hint that she used to be beautiful, but she has empty red eyes. And she she can move at speeds that don't make sense. So she's quickly behind Asar, and then her shadows are circling him, and she says, I've missed you. And Asar looks at Mische with terror and says, run. And she actually goes towards him, because that is her instinct. But Ilias pulls her away, and they start running, and Ilias just says, they're following orders. And obviously Misha's worried about Asar and afraid that this person thing will kill him. Not person. Is she a wraith?
Yeah.
She is? But she's more powerful or something? I don't really know.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with wraiths is if you're a vampire, I'm assuming you keep your you keep your vampire power.
Yes. That makes sense that she's a vampire. Duh, me. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. You
no, obviously she was, because it does come up a bit. Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. To be honest, I do forget that Mische and Asar are vampires every now and then. I'm just it's a cool story about our friends that have magic.
Yeah, I just read a section where I am now painfully aware that they are. So.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And so, yeah, Misha's she's gonna kill him. And Ilias is if only. Okay, asshole.
Yeah, he's not nice.
No. And then Mische thinks that she won't actually kill him though, because she could feel the starvation coming off of this woman, Wraith. So now I'm just can she just feel emotions off of other people now? And is that part of her shadow magic that she's starting to use it more? Don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's something going on.
There is something, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't take it that way. I took it as just she could
she's
feel
perceptive.
it. Yeah. I just thought she could feel her hunger, as in vampires can sort of sense each other's hunger. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it could be. I just am always hoping that there's an excuse for people being super perceptive, because I'm I don't see any of this.
I can't tell.
So I don't think anyone should be able to, obviously.
Agreed.
So they run, and Mische actually loses Ilias's hand, and then she's just alone, and she ends up running face first into a wall, but it makes her stop and think for a second, and she's just huh. I shouldn't be running without any purpose. So she kind of realizes that they're in a maze, but she's also lost. And she can see two paths. So she's kind of feeling around on the wall to get a clue. And she feels some glyphs on the wall. And she tries to use her magic with the gates, but it doesn't work. And then she feels some glyphs that she recognizes because they're Atroxuses. And she reaches for the sun, and it's a tiny spark, but she puts it into the glyphs, and it lights up one of the paths. So, super convenient.
It is super convenient.
But it also goes behind her. So she's worried that this wraith person, whose name we don't know, will see it and be able to follow them. And the walls tell her to hurry. So she starts to run in the direction she's going. She gets to the middle, and there's a door there surrounded by light. So obviously this is the destination. So she goes towards it, but wraiths cover the floor, and most of them are actually motionless, and some are twitching. And one grabs her ankle and says, warm. And she's just like, what happened to all of these wraiths? Because, like, normally they're up trying to take your life.
Yeah.
And now they're just lying there. And it looks like they've been eaten. And she wonders if it's by her. Again, the wraith misses.
Yeah, this nameless lady.
Yeah. I kind of wish we knew her name, because there's a lot of... I just, like, italicized all of the times I was talking about her, because I was like, she, her, she... Like, I mean, who knows?
I can tell you her name if it helps, or you can
No, I don't.
All right.
I don't want to know.
All
I
right.
don't... I want them to have told me in the book.
Oh, okay. All right, I get
it. So she thinks of Asar saying, run, and then there's shadows around her neck.
Okay.
Did I delete something? Who knows? But basically, Asar and her show up, and she has shadows around her neck, and she says it's been so long since she's been warm in Misha's ear, and Misha feels that, like, she can feel that this wraith woman wants for food, for love, for light, the moon, and the stars. And I'm like, that is so specific, and, like,
yeah,
I'm like, there has to be something going on. But, and then she tells Misha that she used to be as pretty as her. And Misha, I think Misha thinks that, like, she definitely was way prettier, which is just kind of funny. Misha asks her name, hoping it will, like, grant her dignity or something. Like, I don't know. She's just pulling strings here. And she's surprised, but she doesn't tell her. And she says Misha pays a great cost for her light. And Asar tells her to leave and leave Misha alone. And Misha meets his eye, and the wraith says that he likes her even if he doesn't know it yet, but he will ruin her one day too. And I'm like, of course, that's how this book is going to end, with them ruining each other, because of course. Then the wraithish woman says to Asar that Misha is another attractive curiosity, but that Misha only knows how to love things that she can fix, and there's no fixing him, is there? And then she says, maybe they're perfect. A girl who only loves broken things, and a boy so broken he can only love what he can't have. And it's just like, oof. But she got a good read on them, and, like, obviously she knows Asar, but, like, she got a pretty good read on Misha.
Yeah. I wonder if that's part of, like, being a wraith, is being able to see past, like, all the bullshit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Asar says that, like, he isn't here for Misha, and the wraith asks if he came for her, and he touches, like, the anchor in his chest discreetly to call the others here. So Elias and Lucy and Chandra. And he tells Misha, like, in her mind to run when he tells her, and that she, the wraith, can't go through the door. And Misha's kind of, like, looks at the door, and she doesn't really know how she's supposed to open it, but she'll figure it out. And Asar says that to the wraith, that he's come back for her many times and to let him try again. And the wraith wraps around Misha, and says, "You never say my name anymore." And he just says, "Please." And Mische knows that it's real desperation. And like the reader's kind of like, yeah, because she's holding Mische right
she's
now.
Being
like
threatened.
Yeah. And Mische can feel the Wraith's loneliness. And the Wraith walks to Asar, and the light in his eyes intertwine with her shadows, the Wraith's shadows. And Mische goes to the door as Elias and Chandra show up. So it all was good timing. And the door has the eye of Alaris, but it also has Atroxis's glyphs on it. So she calls her magic, but it's slow. So Chandra comes over and tries to help her. And then shadows circle Mische, and she's like, oh shit, but it's actually Asar, and it's his magic helping her to see words on the door, but it's in a language that like she can't read anyway. But I guess with all the sun magic, they get the door open, and the door just disappears, and there are spiral stairs. And then blood starts to pour from the ceiling, and I'm assuming that's on the outside of the room, but it didn't really specify that well.
Amazing. Yeah, I don't remember this at all. I'm not gonna lie. I've gotten so deep.
Yeah.
That
You're past this trial. It really is like, I'm assuming, just going to be 5 trials to get the thingies.
Sure. You don't like me telling you things.
I don't. So Chandra, Elias, and Lucy go into the room, and Asar is surrounded by light and darkness, and his eye is very bright, and I'm like, what kind of magic does he have? Like, what's going on? But he's holding the Wraith, and it looks like he's going to kiss her, but she screams and keeps screaming, and he lunges for Mische. And she pulls him through the door like so violently that they fall down the stairs, and the door slams shut, so the Wraith can't get through. Yeah, there's a lot. So Misha's holding Asar's hand, and it's so silent, and she's in pain, and she's just like, am I dead? But Chandra helps her up, and she asks what was she, but a not mortal voice says, you reek of the living. And she turns around and she sees a golden translucent panther with a skull face similar to Lucy's face.
Interesting.
So we got some new guys here. And it looks at Mische and says that she's a long way from home and that the sun tried to banish them, but they guard and they'll guard from them. And then like more panthers come to the point that Mische just says, too many to count. And I'm like, how many panthers would it have to be too many to count? You think you'd be able, like, I don't know.
I'm going to say 8.
I think you could count 8 panthers. I guess if they're moving quickly.
Yeah, that's what they're moving and jumping.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'm going to say
fair
8.
enough. So they can hear a storm outside, which I guess is the blood falling.
So, wait, are they in the temple or did they leave? Are they back in Morthrin?
They're in a temple.
This is what I mean.
They just went through a door.
I forget things.
It's okay. So they hear like a storm outside, and Mische knows they won't survive outside of this room, and also, they're not going to survive here with more panthers than you can count.
Unless they're
and Mische
nice
says,
panthers.
Well, what are the chances?
I'd love a nice panther.
Yes, that would be very good. I would love that as well. So Mische says that they've come to right an anxious wrong. Come to right an anxious wrong. Ancient wrong.
Maybe that too.
And yeah. The panther says, a truth that isn't true, a lie that isn't a lie, the curse of mortal tongues. And they say that they see her soul and call her fallen one. So like, she's not the best one to do the talking because they're going to give away her plan. So Asar kneels in front of them and says that he serves their master and has watched over this realm for 154 years. And he sees the realm hurts and asks them to trust him with Alaris's relic and to restore the realm, like so that he can restore the realm.
Yeah.
And Mische knows that like this is actually the truth. Like, yes, he probably was given this task by Nyaxia, but he actually does care too.
Yeah. And it's not one of those tasks that, like, he's doing because he believes in her, but not because he believes in the task. Like, he genuinely believes that what he's doing is correct.
Yeah. It almost seems like he cares more about the underworld and getting Alaris for that purpose than he does. And it's probably why he was chosen for the task. Like, Nyaxia probably realized that. So the Guardian says he will not survive the journey. But Asar says that death is not the same as failure. I know, right? Like, he obviously is going to. This is a romance book, my guy.
Did no one tell you?
Right? And the Guardian says that they have stood for millennia and they are growing weaker and will soon be like the dead whose fate are like all on Asar's shoulders. And then they basically say, so do you want to do this? And Asar says yes. And the Panthers surround Asar and like cover him. And I'm like, Jesus, wouldn't that just be spooky? Like, wouldn't someone do something if the Panthers just started like climbing on you and saying, you're not going to survive this?
It'd be funny.
He just like lies down and like rubs their bellies like a little.
Oh, and then they start like booping him like with their little noses.
It would be great. I would 100% be murdered by Panthers.
What's a group of Panthers called?
What's a group of cats called? Lions is a pride.
Yeah. A clouder is cats.
A clouder. That's cute. I like that.
I also like that. Oh, that's fun. A group of panthers is called a claw.
Oh, I like that too.
A claw of panthers.
They're trying to tell us not to join the group of panthers. You'll get scratched.
I'd rather do the scratching.
Yes. I can be of use. So Mist starts coming in, and then they get a memory from Alaris. And it's him and Nyaxia, and they're in a poppy field. And she says that she likes it here, and she asks why he hasn't made more. And he thinks that she's eternally hungry, and that is why his siblings resent and fear her. And he thinks that they're right. She is terrifying, but he's fond of her. And he knows it's a mistake, but he kisses her.
Oh.
Like, okay. And then after the memory, Asar just has like poppy petals. Just magically now. And the Panthers move, and there's a golden door behind them. And they say that they don't understand such things. And that Alaris could have had any woman, but his heart was so hungry for her that he let it devour the world for a fleeting taste, and tells them to be wary of deadly cravings. And we're like, whoop.
Yeah, what does all that mean? And I'll be honest with you, I am 3/4 of the way through the book and I don't get it.
Oh.
So
fair enough.
Yeah. It's not.
I'm assuming it's going to come up. Maybe it's not till the next book, though.
Who knows?
So they walk through the door, and the Guardian says, I smell fate upon you, and also hunger. And Mische thinks that it's to her. Okay. And then they're just in Morthrin, which is like, good. All doors lead to Morthrin.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's very convenient. And obviously everyone's exhausted, and Mische notices that like where they are kind of looks like it's on the brink of collapse. And she knows that the Guardians were created by a god, but she kind of starts wondering like is what they say prophecy, just what they think? Like, you know, do they actually know everything? Is there anything to this? Beware of your deadly cravings. Possibly not. At least not 3/4 of the way into the book.
Yeah. Nope.
So then Elias asks, what the fuck was that? Which I just love when characters swear in books. Like, I just find it funny.
Well, I mean, it's accurate. If something bad happens to you, you're gonna curse.
Yeah, and it's not like they don't. I don't feel like it's overdone in this book, which it kind of can be, but I like it.
I agree with you.
And then he's like, you don't have a quest from Nyaxia. All of this is about her, and he's talking about the Wraith. And he says that Asar is the bastard prince that no one wanted, and the dead woman that he can't... ... And I'm assuming, like, that can't have. I don't know what else it would be. And then Mische touches Elias's shoulder to stop him, because that's, like, her job is to fix things and stop people from fighting. And he just turns around and punches her in the face. And she just goes flying. And I was like, whoop. And then Asar surrounds Ilias in darkness and flings him into the wall. And Asar says, do not touch her, with a period between each word. Which, obviously, I love. And he says that it isn't her fault that he can't handle witnessing the results of his actions. And Ilias just says that Asar has followed unpleasant orders too. So I kind of just took that to mean that Ilias was the one that had to kill this woman on the king's orders. But we'll probably get more of that later.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, maybe we will. Maybe we won't. Who knows? Ilias also says that he didn't turn her into whatever the fuck she is now. So, like, but I think that's just a process of, like, wraiths becoming whatever is happening to them. Which I think is all just a bigger issue with Alaris being gone. Like, how hard it is for the souls to get to the underworld.
Yeah. And, like,
so
obviously the gods don't give a shit because they don't have to deal with death.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah.
You suck ass. And, like, here's my issue, though. Is I feel like we sort of briefly talked about this before, that I hope Alaris is a good guy. Because as of right now, I don't know who to root for in terms of the gods. And, like, maybe the answer is going to be none of them. But I feel like they live in a society that reveres the gods, and there's no way that they're all gonna overthrow their gods. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way this entire society is gonna break down all of their belief systems and, like, get rid of their, like, what do you call
worshipping?
It? Multi-theatic. What is it? Not monotheatic, but where you worship more than one.
Multi-theatic? I don't know.
Where you worship more than one god. I can't remember what the word is.
Yeah.
But, like, there's no way that this entire, like, world is going to abandon that. So, like, I don't see a way forward where the gods become obsolete. Yeah. But as of right now, I don't really like any of them.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't met many of them, and I don't hate, what's her name? Is it Deanna, maybe?
I don't know. That sounds like Throne of Glass.
I know it does, but...
but it's also a common enough god name.
Whichever god permitted Rain and Araya to, like, have their little bond thing.
Yeah, the god of Seers.
Yeah, like, I don't know if she's good or bad as of right now, like, but, you know, whereas during that book, it made it seem like she was doing it for, like, altruistic reasons.
Yeah.
And then in this book, Atraxis is saying, like, she's moving in on Nyaxia's creations, makes it seem like maybe she had ulterior motives.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm not crazy about that. Then I'm not crazy about Nyaxia, because she just honestly seems like a bitch.
Yeah. She wants her people to be at war.
Yeah. And, like, then Atraxis also seems like a big old dick. So, like...
Oh, awful.
I don't like anybody. And so I don't know who I should root for. You know what I mean? Like do I want Mische to succeed because she's the main character, but then I also don't want her and Asar to have, like, conflict. But I also don't want Nyaxia to succeed either, because I think she's a bitch and she has some sort of motive.
Yeah. I feel like Alaris obviously has a soft spot for dead people.
I mean, he's the god of the dead, though.
Yeah.
So, like, he's just...
But Nyaxia doesn't have a soft spot for vampires. Like, more than most people, more than most gods, maybe, but she's still a dick to them. Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, I don't know. And these two flashbacks we've had from his point of view, I'm like, they're not really selling him as, like, the greatest guy.
No.
So I agree. I don't really know. Like, I feel like it's going to have a twist like the first book did, where it's like, Misha's going to decide not to do what she had to do, and then it's going to be the wrong choice or something.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine it would be exactly the same. So maybe it'll be like she decides to kill him, and then that's the wrong choice. Maybe that's how this book will end. Like, I don't know. So Asar yells at Ilias to get out, and he says that he wishes he could, but he's stuck following him to the grave. And then he says that they can use Alaris's relics, and he says, look at what the House of Night did with just his teeth, and they have 2 relics now, the petals and
the branch.
The branch with blood. So Mische cuts in and just says, no mortal should have that kind of power. And Ilias says that the House of Night is cultivating power like that again. And she says no, but he tells her that, like, he runs spies and he knows that they have something. He doesn't know what it is. And he actually says that he doesn't blame them because they pissed off Nyaxia. They killed a Shadowborn prince and made an enemy of the Bloodborns. So, like, they're kind of fucked with everyone right now. So he's not surprised that they're trying to get some power. But obviously, Mische doesn't want to believe that. And, like, neither really does the reader, because we're like, they're the good guys. They're not going to disrespect gods, but, like, body parts and shit anymore after what happened last time.
Yeah.
But
I also, yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like they're all too, like, suspicious of each other to actually trust what each other is saying.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Even though, like, Mische is saying, like, no, they aren't cultivating power. They just want to live. Like, you know, they just want to, like, rule their nation and, like, combine their 2 people. Like, they're not thinking of power, because Rain and Araya aren't.
No, but so do you think that he's wrong, that they're not amassing power?
That
Rain and Araya aren't, like,
I don't think they're
trying to find.
I don't think they're intentionally amassing power.
Okay. Because, yeah, like, he said that his spies are saying that they have something already.
But, like, could that have been the stuff that they used on the battlefield at the end of the last book?
Well, he did bring up the teeth already, but I can't remember if they had something else. Because, honestly, the end of that book, I forgot it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. But, yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to believe that they're finding more stuff. And neither does Mische. And I think that's kind of like where
the point, yeah.
We are. Yeah. And who knows? Maybe this will come up in the next book. Because I doubt it'll come up in this one.
Fuck's sakes. Yeah.
And also there's another duet after this, so it could come up in that too.
Yep.
And then Elias says that all the houses are fighting for survival and that the House of Blood actually conquered a human nation. And Chandra asks where, and he's just like, some island, and he throws out a few names. He doesn't know. And he's like, some inconsequential island. And it's like, it's a bit ignorant.
A little bit.
And then Elias says that they need to be ready to fight and that his sister and his father know that. And Asar calls them ignorant, and they only see what's in front of them. And sometimes they don't even see that. And he says that Elias is lucky that they're bound by orcs. By orcs. Bound by oaths. Or he would throw him back out. And Elias goes to say something, but Asar just commands silence and like compels it and says rest. So they walk for days, I assume, after they had a nap. And Asar doesn't get Mische to help with the gates anymore or to train. And she has terrible nightmares each night. And on the third night, she dreams that she's back in the temple with wraiths surrounding her. And Eomen is there, and he tells her that he's so cold, and he's translucent, and he has bites, and she's like the ones that were on the ground near the last temple. And she tells him that she'll help him. And then she hears a voice that she started to forget say, all they need is light, and also say, I followed you, and I trusted you. So I'm assuming that this is Sasha. But I think it's still a dream. It is, yeah. So Mische tries to use her magic, but she can't. And she says, I can still save you. And she starts to cry. But when she looks back towards the voice that she started to forget, she just sees a dead firefinch that's full of maggots.
Ew.
Okay. Yeah. And then Mische wakes up and she knows that Morthrin was showing her a vision. She's like, that wasn't a dream.
My God.
Okay.
I just had a revelation about the firefinches.
Oh my God, wait. Do you remember the Taskmaster task where Gus, another revelation from the lab?
Yes.
Revelation, that word. I can only think of that task.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Revelation about the goldfinches.
Okay, so again, I am a little bit further ahead in the book. However, I feel like
they do come out at the very end of this week.
The firefinches is a reoccurring theme, right? Like they've come up in the interludes. They've come up a couple of times in her dreams and stuff. And I've discovered what they are.
Okay.
They are symbolic of Mische herself. Like, they symbolize her. Because they keep trying to cull... And vampires. Because, they keep trying to, they want to cull the goldfinches. Or, kill the goldfinches. Or, anything like that. And she's like, but it's not their fault. They were brought to this garden, they didn't do it on purpose. And it's it doesn't matter. We're going to kill them all. So, these goldfinches are just representative of her and other vampires. And maybe that was obvious, but I only just realized it.
No, I like it. It does make me wonder in this situation, and I was kind of thinking this before you said it, I did wonder if her sister was turned somehow.
Oh.
And then her sister being portrayed by a firefinch full of maggots.
Ew.
I'm assuming it's her sister. And you putting that together, I'm like, could she have been also turned? Or they tried to turn her and she killed herself?
Do you know what?
Because of her conviction?
Do you know what my biggest fear is? Is that Mische was turned and then used her sister as her first meal.
Yes, that is also a fear.
That's a concern.
And then what if she didn't completely kill her and she turned her?
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
I don't remember how you actually turn a vampire. I think you have to
neither.
feed them your blood.
Yeah.
But maybe someone else came and fed their blood to be like, nah, ha, 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 I'm evil. Yeah. So Mische wakes up and she knows that Morinth was showing her a vision. Morthrin, whatever I just said. And Morthrin guides her to a dilapidated gate. And she really seems to have a connection with Morthrin. And it keeps growing. So she's at a gate and she knows that Eowyn is here. And she runs to the gate, but someone stops her. And there's like a veil over the gate that ripples. And she says that they're coming for her. And then Asar says, you can't touch it, and tells her to wake up. And he has her against a wall and he's holding her face. And she's just sobbing. So he tells her to breathe and she like kind of is able to calm down with him. And she says that they're there. And he says no one is here and the gate is standing. And she sees that the gate is empty, but she knows that this wasn't a dream.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't really get what it was trying to show her. Other than like, is she already getting some effects of the next level? Which is kind of what he says a bit later. So maybe that's what it is. So he tells her then, exactly right now, what I was just saying, that the boundaries between worlds are weaker here, and the next sanctum is Psyche, and their minds will start preying on them soon. So, like, I didn't know if this was actually Morthrin trying to give her a warning, or if it was Psyche trying to
mess with her head.
Yeah. So she starts to cry again, and he tells her that nothing is there. But she says that they haven't seen Eowyn, and he must have been eaten by a soul eater. And he doesn't deserve that. And Asar just says, like, he wasn't. And they kind of tease each other a bit, but she's actually, like, very upset. So he says, come with me. So they walk deep into Morthrin, and as they go further, it looks worse. And they get to a creek of blood, and it looks like it used to be like a wider creek, but now it's only tiny. And Asar says that it'll have to work. And they go to the edge, and he tells her to pull up her sleeves, and she stares at his arms, and she's like, ooh, he's so hot and strong. But he just thinks that she's staring at his scars, which he doesn't like. And then he tells her to put her arms in and touch the bottom. So she does, and the water turns black. And Asar tells her to say his name. And she sees him, and he looks peaceful. And Mische says that he's healed. But Asar says that he's dead. And Mische realizes that he's made it to the underworld. And then Asar tells her that that's enough and pulls her back. And he says that it's best not to give death too much time to call to you. But she thinks like it already has had too long. And she asks him how he did it. And he denies that he did anything. But she persists. And he says that he leads them to he can lead them to their intended path occasionally. But it doesn't always work. And it's harder now. So he can't do it often. And she kind of hears that like he feels shame about that. And she can't fathom why, even though, like, you get it. And Asar tells her that Eowyn doesn't blame her and that he worshipped her. And she says that he was a good person and should have. And then she thinks there are so many shoulds. And she says, like, she was in a terrible fever when she found what was left of Eowyn and Sasha. So I'm assuming after she was turned, she had the fever of turning. And like, you'd think that if she was the one to kill them, maybe you don't remember your death, I don't know.
I don't know.
Because she asks... Sorry.
I know that this was in, like, the first book when we met Mische, but, like, why did Malik a bitch turn her and then abandon her?
Because she's Alice from Twilight.
Oh.
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I wonder if we'll get some of that, too. Because she doesn't remember her turning. Like, did she escape or something? Like, I don't know.
I can't
Did she run and he couldn't find her?
I vaguely remember, but again, I'm not 100% sure if this is accurate. I vaguely remember her saying that, like, she was so sick with the fever that he just left her.
Oh. Yeah. Could be.
But I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't remember. We're so good at this, remembering.
My memory is shit.
Same. So she asks Asar what Eowyn said, and he says that he said bits and pieces about his life and a lot about boating, which is just kind of funny. And then Asar says that Eowyn told him that they traveled to the land of vampires to preach the light, and he says that it was brave. And she tells him that she told him she wasn't a crusader, and he says he knew that after spending 5 more minutes with her. Which is... And she thinks of how Sasha would have offered Atraxus a vampire heart, and she never would have lost his favor, and how Mische is too soft-hearted. Which I think we kind of get a bit into the end of this week, but we don't... Like, I didn't read past this week.
Right.
So I think we'll get more of it at the beginning of next week, because we get some, like, flashback moments. Asar says they all have ghosts, and Mische asks if she, the Wraith Phantom Woman, was one of his. And he says that not all dead are so easily put to rest. And she tells him it doesn't make the love worth less because he can't help her. And he says that they should go.
Yeah.
He tells her...
He doesn't want to talk about it.
No, he really doesn't. He tells her she won't see Eowyn anymore. So we're assuming he's moved on to the underworld.
He's crossed over.
Yeah. And Mische just throws herself at him in a hug, which is just kind of cute. And he stiffens because of course he does. But she says thank you. And he tries to protest, but she holds him and says accept it. And he says never, but he does hug her back. You're like, aw. So they walk back, and she tells him that he can't let anyone use the relics because it would be... And then, like, she can't think of a better word, so she just says bad. And then she says, like thousands of innocent dying bad. And he tells her he isn't fool enough to use them. And he has enough marks against his soul to grab petty power and run. And she thinks of him bringing Alaris back and the potential divine war and how silly worrying about the relics is when, like, that's going to kill so many other people.
Yeah.
If Alaris is brought back.
Yeah. Based
on what Atraxus has told her and shown her.
But, like,
so
Atraxus still wants her to bring him back.
And then just stab him immediately, I guess? Like,
okay, so when they were talking about, like, the amount of power and him coming back, I thought it was just the act of bringing him back that would, like, be this huge, powerful thing that would, like, cleave worlds. Like, I didn't think it was once he was back in the world and what he did with it. I figured it was just the actual act of resurrection that would be really problematic.
Gotcha.
Now I could have.
Yeah, I didn't take it like that.
Obviously, I could be interpreting it wrong.
Well, we don't know yet. I don't think Misha's taking it like that solely based on, like, what would be the point of... She wouldn't agree to bring him back if she knew that was...
But that's why she said... Because when he said, like, she was like, oh my god, if he brings... If Asar brings Alaris back, like, that the untold power, like, it would destroy worlds or whatever...
Mm-hmm.
And Atraxa said yes, and she was like, so you want me to stop him from bringing up Alaris back? And he was like, no, I want you to let it happen and then kill him. So, like, she did assume that he wanted her to prevent it because she knew preventing him from coming back at all would save a whole lot of lives. Which is why I took it the way I took it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now that...
I just kind of assumed he'd be angry and try to kill them.
Yeah.
But... Yeah. But, like, if Mische kills him as soon as he's resurrected... Are we assuming that Nyaxia isn't going to lose her absolute shit? Because, like, that's my main assumption of what would happen then. Like, if he is resurrected for a second and then Misha's the one to kill him, she is a goner. Nyaxia is not going to stand for that.
Listen, I think this whole thing, so, like, we've discussed her mission, like, Misha's mission and how they had to like go to the land of vampires to find light, to like preach light. Mm-hmm. And like, did we talk about what we think of, like, I don't know, Atraxas doesn't really seem like a good dude.
Yeah.
So like in my brain I'm thinking, well, like, if he's not a good guy, what makes us think that him asking Mische to do this task is pure? You know what I mean? Like,
Alaris, you mean?
Yeah, like, like, what if he's doing this intentionally to get rid of her? Or what if he is doing it intentionally? It's like, it feels like a fool's errand. Like, she's doomed no matter what she does. Like, if she wins and, like, defeats and kills Alaris, then Nyaxia is gonna kill her. But if she doesn't, then Atraxas can be like, you didn't do it, I'm gonna kill you. So, like, she sort of seems stuck in that type of position. She's not thinking that way. Like, she's not...
Well, no, because she doesn't think that she doesn't think that Atraxas would actually
I just feel like
turn on her.
Just feel like he's setting her up to fail intentionally.
Yes.
And, like, maybe he wants her, maybe he's doing it so that he can get rid of her. Like, maybe he's intentionally trying to give her this hope that he still could care for her, only to be like, you're a piece of filth, I hate your guts.
Yeah. We kind of get at the end of this week why she was sent, or like I after reading this week, I get an idea of why she was sent to the land of the vampires. So I do think that does make sense. I just think that she trusts Atraxas so much, even though she is having some doubts, but she does trust him.
Yeah, she doesn't doubt his, like, reasoning, though. Like, all of her doubts she thinks are internal for her. She thinks it's a her problem.
Yeah, but she was like, she did get upset, and she does have doubts when she was still a human, and that's why all of this kind of happened. And I think we'll get to that when we get to that, though. But yeah, I do think that you're probably right. Atraxas is probably just trying to fuck her over. Yeah. I wonder why he can't just kill her.
Kill her?
Yeah.
Maybe he could, but maybe, I mean, he's a god and he's vindictive and vengeful. Maybe he doesn't want to have it end like that.
Yeah. And they do love playing games. Yeah. Yeah. So, Mische then asks Asar if all of this is about pleasing Nyaxia. And he's just like, yeah, Ygritte doubted it too. The timing was too convenient because his father was debating if he should live, and then he got this task from Nyaxia. And she's just like, oh, no, I do believe you. I believe that you got this task. She just asks, like, if that's the reason that he's doing it, kind of like we had just said. And she asks, like, what he's getting for doing this. And he just says, the typical rewards. He'll be the greatest Shadowborn king in a millennia. His name will be known in the history books, like all that obvious stuff that would be offered.
I don't think that's true.
You don't think that's what he was offered?
No? But I don't think he's going to tell her.
Okay.
I have no reason to think otherwise, but like that doesn't seem like stuff he would want.
Well, I think that's what he's kind of saying. But what do you think he was offered? Do you have idea of it, or are you just...
I don't know, like, he seems to have some secrets, so, like, we haven't heard anything actually about his mother, so, like, maybe that's something. Like, maybe he'd ask, like, Nyaxia to ask Alaris to, like, resurrect, even though he can resurrect, but, like, maybe he can't resurrect vampires. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, like, I wonder if he's, like, gonna ask to resurrect somebody or something.
If he brought Alaris back, you'd think that Alaris would just grant him something anyway. So maybe he's counting on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he just says that it's a powerful gift to right a wrong. Which seems like... That kind of seems like too much of a goody thing to say. But it does make Mische think of, like, Atraxis has offered her redemption, and that's what she's going for. And he's going to right a wrong. And she says that she needs to rest. And he tells her that they'll need to fix gates once they get lower, if she's up for it. And she thinks that she's missed fixing them these past few days, but she doesn't say that, obviously. So we assume that they slept, and it's freezing the next day, and Morthrin is crumbling as they go deeper. And her nightmares are getting worse, and it's not about Eowyn anymore, but about Sasha's death and Malik's breath on her neck, and Atraxis' divine rage. And Rain and Araya crushed by the armies in the House of Shadow, or by Nyaxia and the Divine War. So she's got a lot of anxiety on the go. They fix gates, some so broken that the wraiths are just wandering the halls, but the wraiths don't know what they're looking for between sanctums because they're too far away from their paths. And Mische asks if they can help them, and Asar says that they can't because they are too far from their paths, and because it would expose them and their plan. No, and their path. I don't know why I'm having such trouble with words, but that their path might not exist anymore.
Yikes.
Which is interesting. And I think this is kind of where I was like, oh yeah, this is because Alaris has been gone so long. So, like, if the wraiths,
everything is crumbling.
The wraiths get lost. Yeah. The wraiths are getting lost on their paths, and, like, if they're lost for long enough, they lose their path. So I'm like, this wraith woman that he was trying to help, that we assume that he loved at one point, definitely doesn't have a path anymore if, like, they can disappear if it's been so long. Maybe he's hoping to ask Alaris to, like, take her to the afterworld, to the underworld, to rest. Maybe that's what he's gonna do once he resurrects him.
Maybe.
Mische can tell that Asar is troubled by, like, all these wraiths not having paths and not being able to help them, and that he cares about the gates. And he notices her staring, and she asks if the things they say about him are true. And he's just like, you're gonna have to be more specific. They say a lot of things. And she says that they say that he could kill 1,000 men without lifting a sword, and that he's collapsed entire rebellions without anyone seeing his face. And he just says it isn't hard to kill 10,000 people if you find the right weak point to exploit/compel. And I'm just like, I don't understand it, but I guess if you're, like, that old of a vampire, if you compel one person to do something, I guess, like, you could compel a king to do something, and then it could cause failure and a bunch of people to die. assuming that's what he means.
Yeah.
But he basically just says that he's killed many people. And then he asks her if that disappoints her. And she just says that she knew who he was. And he tells her that he was young and had nothing else to offer his father. And his father killed all the other bastards. And he was 8 when he met his father. And he saw some potential in Asar. So decided to keep him.
I mean, better than just killing him outright.
Well, yes. Mische tells him that he doesn't need to justify himself to her. And he says that it's not a justification, but an explanation. And she's just like, wait, you actually care what I think about you? And he kind of hesitates a bit. And then he's like, no, I don't. And she's like, I can tell that he does. Later, she thinks of the Wraith woman saying that he likes you even if he doesn't know it yet, but he will ruin you. And she dreams of Asar. And, like, it's a hot and heavy dream. And he's all over her. And then she dreams of a kiss that tastes like damnation. And she's pulled away by Atraxis. And I'm like, did he know that she was having this dream? But she said that he's far away. Because I think he said when he first saw her last week that the further down she went, the harder it would be for him to contact her. Which I'm loving, because I'm like, if she can't be contacted by him, she should just stay down here with Asar, fix some gates, and live happily ever after.
Yeah, but her brain is still, like, she's exceedingly loyal. It's problematic.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And, like, I'm sure she did good things in Atraxis's name, which makes it even harder to, like, see where it's all bad. Obviously, it's not all bad, but, you know. But Atraxis tells her that they're running out of time and darkness looms on the horizon and she must complete her task. And I'm like, what darkness is looming on the horizon? Like, I don't remember him telling us about that. Don't know.
Yeah.
Is it just Alaris resurrecting is the dark?
I don't know.
Or like her feelings changing and her starting to like Asar? Like, is that what he means by darkness?
Or is it just Atraxis being a dick and being like, oh, you gotta hurry?
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yeah. Any of these things. Mische thinks of telling him that so much here can still be saved. And that about like how beautiful it is down here. But she knows it won't go well. So she just says that she will hurry. And he kisses her. And it's a scalding promise. I'm like, oof. I didn't realize they were still physically intimate.
Yeah.
They're not. I don't think they have been for 50 years, but
yes.
I didn't realize that other than the first night they were. And like we literally get more of it now. Mm-hmm. But we go to part 4, which is Psyche, which is the next level. And we get an interlude. So years pass and she commits herself to Atraxis at 16 and she formally becomes a bride of the sun. And she learns more magic and finds more lost souls and stitches together more broken hearts. And Atraxis dotes on her and visits her every few months and gives her tasks to complete. And then we get that he's gentle enough. Enough? What does that even mean? Yeah. And what does Mische think gentle enough is? Because she's now taking these burns to use the magic. Like, I can't even imagine what she thinks gentle enough is.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
It's devastating.
Yeah.
Because, like, she's 16 to 19 this whole time. Like, she's still a teenager.
Child. She's
a
child. And a thousands, eons, infinitely old god is having sex with her on the regular.
And is gentle enough.
Ew.
Yeah. So he's gentle enough in bed. I know I said it 5,000 times, but I think it's worth repeating. But she doesn't get the fuss about sex, which I just think is kind of funny. So she asks her friend if that's all it is. And obviously, we're assuming her friend is Eoman, but he says that he, Atraxis, won't like her saying things like that. Because she's talking about how he's not very good in bed, basically. But it is one of those tropes that we hate of like, she's super innocent and presumably she's never had an orgasm with Atraxis. So like, obviously it's going to be mind blowing later on because she's so innocent.
But like, so does this mean like, has she ever had an orgasm? Because like, again,
her body isn't hers.
Her sister also remembered like last week when she was having that moment with Eamon, and her sister was like, "You can't. You're betrothed to the sun god, right?" So like, I wonder, like, if her body belongs to him, does that mean she can't like do it herself?
Masturbate. Yeah.
So like, has she ever had
I wonder
an
the same thing. It's gonna be interesting to read the rest of this book. Yeah. So a bit of time passes and a vampire is restrained by excited acolytes at the Citadel, and he's being restrained with chains blessed by Atraxis's light and strengthened by Shrana, the goddess of machinery. Like, how many goddesses and gods are there?
Machinery is a obscure one, I feel.
Well, like, and was she the goddess of machinery before machinery existed? Or were they like, and now the Industrial Revolution has started, we'll put a god on that? So, obviously, these chains burn the vampire's skin. So, they end up keeping the vampire in a cell with barely enough shade for him to stay away from the sun in the daytime. And Mische obviously is super curious and doesn't do what she should most of the time. So she goes and visits him. And she's surprised at how human he looks. And she feels bad. And she watches him. And I was just like, oh, this is her thinking. When she was talking to Asar last week. And she said that she wasn't, that she didn't kill vampires, whatever the technical term for that was. She did think of chains and black blood, and I'm assuming this is what she was thinking about, was this one vampire. The flashback that she had, and she was like felt some guilt over. So she watches him and he watches her, and she sees that he has a flower, and she thinks like, they're at the Citadel, and she thinks like she came here with just a feather. So the next day she brings him another flower, and she sits beside him, and then she does it again and again and again and again. So we're assuming multiple days in a row. And she talks to him, and he talks back, but she doesn't know the language he's speaking, but she knows that he's more complicated than she's been told. And she's given her life to spreading light. And she's seen that no matter how dark a person's past, a flicker of light shone in every heart. So she thinks, like, why not his? Just because he's a vampire. So the next time she sees Atraxis, she asks him, like, why vampires can't be saved if even the worst kind of humans can't be. And he says that vampires are tainted because of their goddess's betrayal. And she says that that's not their fault, though, which is very similar to the Firefinch thing.
Right?
Yeah. Which I also didn't put together until I maybe would have gotten it here, reading it out loud, but who knows. And he says that their goddess damned them. So she says that there has to be a way to redeem them because no living creature is soulless and no living creature should be killed for fun. And he asks if she's referring to the mission of the Dawn as fun. And she just says, of course not, and like has to change the subject and like completely backtrack, which is typical abusive relationship behavior.
Yep.
So By the time her conversation with Atraxas is done, the priests have the vampire shirtless, hung upside down by his chains and in the sun, with a golden arrow in his chest.
Aww.
And she kneels in front of this vampire and like picks up his petals that fell out of his pocket of the flower that he brought. And she climbs up the citadel steps and then the trellises. And her sister tells her to come down because it's dangerous. And she knows that her sister doesn't mean the height is dangerous. So she cuts the restraints and the vampire corpse falls, her blessed life with it. So this is kind of when I was like, oh, her mission by Atraxas to go to the land of the vampires, the continent of the vampires, was because she thought that vampires were
redeemable.
Savable. Yeah. Better word, redeemable. So we go back to present day, and Asar says that they're now closer to death than to life, and they're at the precipice of the Sanctum of Psyche. And it's got like a red glass floor, and there's islands of bone, and there's black and thunderstorms above. And Chandra is the most affected by the death because she's the most alive of them, but everyone is affected in some way. Elias asks what to expect, and Asar says that Psyche is the sanctum of memory and thought, so there will be wraiths here, and there's going to be soul eaters here, and your thoughts can be used against you. And Psyche will try to keep them/life here and stop them from going on. And he says, don't go into the blood.
Yeah.
Which you're like, immediately when you say that, someone's going in the blood.
Yeah.
We know how this works. You say, don't go off the path, everyone's off the path. So Asar guides them down, and Mische kind of teases him about being so matter-of-fact about it. And he almost smirks about it. And like Ilias and Chandra kind of have a look like, what's up with these guys?
I mean,
and we
what
know
is up
they're
with
falling
these
in
guys?
love.
Yeah.
Ilias kind of like just says that they should try to rest first before they go here, but Asar wants to get it over with, because they don't have the time. And obviously, if something's going to be fucking with your mind, you should have rested before you got there, not try to sleep there. That sounds awful. So they go downstairs, and Mische notices that there's soul eaters flying and also swimming in the blood, and they're like circling them. And Asar says they've started to smell us. And you're like, great, that can't be good.
Yeah. This is something I don't understand. So, in body, remember how they were going up to the temple and there were soul eaters everywhere. And one of the key things that was described to us was that the soul eaters are there to eat the wraiths. And like we watched one of the soul eaters eat a wraith. And it was, and Asar said, if we are calm and collected, the soul eaters will leave us alone because they don't want us. They want the wraiths. Yeah. So I don't understand how all of a sudden the soul eaters are like the quote unquote bad guys. And I say that, but like they're now like the monsters of the underworld. When really it was the wraiths that craved them. And soul eaters crave the wraiths. The soul eaters crave the wraiths. So, like, it's like, why is this happening? Yeah, it's like the little fishy. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. And it doesn't really come up in this part. I don't know if it comes up next week. I'm not sure. And maybe he's talking about the wraiths can smell them, and then the soul eaters are, like, smelling the wraiths. Who knows? Asar starts to say that the temple is, and we're assuming he's going to say there, and like, then he just stops and looks at his hands, and a bolt splits the sky, a bolt of lightning. And Misha's just like, what happened? And she can feel Asar's panic, and he takes off his arm guards, and his on-scarred arm is now black to his wrist with tendrils climbing up. And on the back of his hand is an eye, and on the other arm, there's red and another
eye on his hand. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? I had no idea what was happening. But luckily, Mische realizes that it's an air mark. So his dad is dead.
And he's the next
Can't say
heir.
I care. Which, like, I do feel bad for Ygritte. It's not her fault. I do feel a little bit bad, but I'm assuming that she's behind all of this anyway. Elias just says fucking finally and stabs Asar in the side and then twists the knife and takes it out. And I'm like, he's obviously trying to kill him so that Ygritte will be the next heir. But why wouldn't he have gone for a killing shot immediately? Like, why did he just stab him in the side? Like, that's not going to do it.
I don't know. Elias is a fucking tool.
He had the element of surprise. Like, I just don't understand why he didn't do better.
Do better, Elias, please.
Right? So Mische tries to go for Asar, but Chandra stops her. And Asar's magic flares and he goes for his sword. And Mische calls for fire, but it's too slow. And Ilias says that Asar would make a shit king. And I'm assuming he wanted to have his say, and that's why he didn't kill him immediately.
Yeah.
And Ilias pushes him towards the edge, and Mische runs at him. And Asar shakes his head no, but they go over the edge together again.
I feel like that's all they do is fall off ledges together.
Ooh, sexy. As she's falling, she like grabs onto a ledge and she holds him, but then he's just gone. And she's like, wait, what?
Yeah. It's like, I'm so confused. How did this happen?
Yeah. But then Lucy just like dives into the blood after him. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Lucy. What a wild choice.
Yeah, but like, Lucy can't get hurt.
I guess, but I care about Lucy.
Yeah, but she'll be fine. She's a ghost dog.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Ilias then says that he'd like Mische's help getting back since Morthrin took a liking to her. And he offers to help her up, and he says that the queen, because obviously we assume Asar is dead now, of course, but he says the queen would be appreciative of it, and Chandra actually like reaches down to help Mische up. And I'm like, Elias and Chandra have something like decided together too. Like when they were off fixing gates, I feel like they made a pact about her getting back to her home or something. Something's going on there. But we do get, obviously Elias is for sure working with Ygritte because he says the queen. And it does just make us believe even further that they're sleeping together.
Yikes. Apparently she looks 70, so...
No. Ygritte and Elias.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Chandra and Elias, and I'm like...
No. Well, he's probably like hundreds of years old.
I know, but he doesn't look hundreds of years old, and we both know that matters.
It does. Yeah, no, I meant Ilias and Ygritte are definitely sleeping together because he took this mission, and he definitely knew that Ygritte was going to kill the king or cause his death somehow. And then he's there to make sure that Asar doesn't become the next king.
But like...
And like, if he had killed him immediately, then Ygritte would have assumed that she was the next heir.
I don't know why...
Like, he could have done it so much better.
I don't understand why they felt the need to leave Asar alive. Like, if they were going to make a ploy for the crown, why not go on this mission, kill Asar immediately, and then, like, when Ygritte put her plan into motion to kill the king, there would be no other heir but her.
I assume it's these oaths they keep mentioning.
Oh.
Like, I assume they, like, Elias must have made an oath that he wouldn't touch Asar to the king.
Okay.
I guess. I'm sure we'll get more about the oaths too, because they just were like, the oaths. But maybe we won't. Who knows if we'll get anything. But Mische is just on the ledge and she thinks she can't let Asar go. So she just lets go and she puts her hand to her anchor to feel a connection to Asar as she falls into the blood. And then we kind of just get her past, and she thinks the years pass, 2, 4, 6, and then she's 8 years old and she's with her sister, and Atraxis is saying she will be his, and her sister says everything will be different now. And Mische just thinks like they're safe now. And in the background of her memory, she sees an odd familiar silhouette, and then a firefinch chirps, and the firefinch doesn't look right. It's too bright and its song is too low. And then the firefinch is in a cage and she's in the citadel with all of the treasures for Atraxis, and she's wearing a magnificent but revealing dress for her wedding. And her eyes and chest are dusted in gold, and she thinks like she's just a treasure for Atraxis too. She's just an item. And then she goes to, I guess, the night of their marriage, and Atraxis tells her to come to bed, but she goes towards this caged finch instead, and he tells her to stop. And she knows this isn't how it actually happened. Like, this isn't right in her memory, but she knows that he's asking her to stay in this moment when she had purpose and was happy before he took her like an offering and ripped off her dress and left her there discarded. And she says that that's when she first felt doubt, which led to desperation and mistakes. Yeah. So he completely fucked her over the first time. Like, he's not a decent guy, which I'm sure is not surprising. He's a god. But yeah. So instead of staying in this moment, she reaches for the bird again. And then she's on a ship with Sasha. And we kind of get that this is happening after the interlude. And Sasha says this isn't right. But Mische believes that they will save a vampire soul to please Atraxis. And you're immediately like, this is an impossible mission that she's been sent on. Which does make sense that, yeah, the one she's on currently is probably impossible too. And she looks at the firefinch and someone's next to it, but she can't make them out. And then she's in a garden with a beautiful vampire. And logistically, the way this is going, I would assume that this is after. But I did kind of wonder if it was the vampire from before. Not sure. And she's changing these memories too. They're not happening exactly like they did, so it's confusing. But I do wonder if this is Malik.
Oh, I think so.
So she's in the garden with a beautiful vampire, and he asks her to come show her all the ways he's sinned. And you know that he's just being a creepy dude because she's beautiful. I hate it. And she looks over his shoulder and sees the bird, and the bird is perched on a man with a silver eye shoulder.
Wonder who that
and we're
could
like,
be.
yeah. And then the vampire's mouth is on her throat and calling her a stubborn girl and asks what it'll take to make her stay. And when she looks at him again, it's a different vampire prince. Oh yeah, of course it's Malik. Never mind. I figured it out. I wrote it down. It's a different vampire prince. Obviously that was Malik. Because that's the way they worded it. And then she thinks, well, a king looking at her.
Oh, so
that's
that's time it's Asar.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So he asks if this will make her stay. And he asks to taste her. And then he puts his hand up her skirt and then just is immediately fingering her. And I'm just like, whoa. And she thinks that, like, the first stroke is more attention than Atraxis ever gave her. Wild. And then Asar, in quotations, says, "You've seen how I studied you. I wouldn't stop until you were so exhausted you begged me for rest." And he keeps going. And she feels that he's hard under her. And he says, "Let me defile you, dawn drinker." And he says, "Please." And she tenses and sees the firefinch again. And she says, "Asar." And he pulls back too. And I'm like, oh shit. It seems like that's actually him and this is actually her. And they're both in this like
hallucination.
Yeah. But I'm like, was this actually happening? And it seems like it was. And she thinks they were each other's bait. And then he says Elia, or however you say her last name. No idea. And they're pulled apart. And that's where we end this week. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
What's going to happen
Oh my
next?
God, so much.
I can imagine. Wild.
Yeah, so I went out and bought
the next one. That's fair.
The back sounded good without giving anything away, so.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did read a tiny bit next week just to see if like it would be another memory again or what would happen, but because I was like, what the fuck is going on?
For sure.
But yeah, it's a wild spot to stop. But I feel like that's what all of her chapters are like.
We always get like things like that, and it's fun.
Yeah, like the second last chapter ended with him being stabbed, so I am glad that we got this chapter after, because if it just ended with him being stabbed. I didn't think that Ilias was going to turn on him. I don't know why. We immediately thought that he was with Ygritte the whole time.
Yeah, but I also didn't suspect him, like, just overthrowing him.
Interesting turns.
Mm-hmm. So, I guess we're going to wrap it up for this week. If you want to get in touch with us and share your thoughts on anything you heard in our episodes, or if you have any book suggestions for us to do next month, please reach out to us by email at coffeeandcoread@gmail.com, or on Instagram or Facebook at coffeeandcoread and coffee.coread on TikTok.
So next week we're going to be reading chapters 24 to 33 of The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. So make sure to follow along, and if you're enjoying our chats, don't forget to follow, rate, and review wherever you get our content. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next page.